If you are a midlife woman or you're coming up on this powerful season of growth, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to Unraveling Together. I'm Samantha Graber, also known as Dr. Sam, seasoned holistic health physician and woman in the midst of midlife's unraveling. Unraveling Together is a place we talk about the things we just don't talk about, but so desperately need to as women. Together we untangle ourselves from our pasts and weave a beautiful web for a future we so deeply desire to bring to life. Grab a cup of chai, water, tea, or joe, and let's get to it. My inner rebel has never been a challenge to summon. We're thick as thieves and have roused many a rebellion in our 50 years together. One super cool addition that has come on scene in the past few years is her sidekick. I don't give a... and then you can fill in the rest. Now, in some circles, let's call it an asterisk. The asterisk stands for F, which I'm sure you can deduce stands for that four-letter word that causes some to tune out the message, so I won't use it. I'll stick to the asterisk and let you complete the acronym in whatever way you see fit. For me, it is most definitely a resounding capital F. My inner rebel and her IDGA BLEEP sidekick has been in full swing as of late. Now their target, the ageism that taints the lives and sucks the joy out of so many women as they accumulate the wisdom that only age can bring. After decades gripping the bottle with gloved hands, I finally stopped dyeing my hair in November of 2019. I'd been dyeing it some variation of brown or red since I was 24-ish. Now, I had it with the whole process and decided to kick the bottle to the curb. It was liberating as all get out, let me tell you. Now, during this particular session in November of 19, as I was mixing the developer with the coloring gel, I had an epiphany. It dawned on me that despite all the fantastically holistic things that I was doing to support my health and well-being, I was putting a noxious chemical concoction on my head every single month. I thought to myself, and I may have muttered aloud, in fact I'm sure I did, that I actually love gray and white and all shades thereof, so why was I continuing the dyeing process month after month? Now, I wasn't even sure how much gray or white I was covering at this point. So in between dye jobs, I could see that little, like in some sections of my head, there was a snowstorm, whilst in others, nary a strand of light could be found. Now, I was single and I wasn't really interested in dating at the time in the name of doing some deep healing. So I gave up the bottle and I've never looked back. Letting my hair go au naturel was an external representation of the growth happening within. I'd always been on the path of constant and never-ending improvement, or CANI for short. At any given moment, I was devouring a book or enrolled in a course aimed at some aspect of the self-improvement continuum. Now, some could argue that I was a self-improvement junkie. Recall that I am a people pleaser in recovery, and in retrospect, I think I was erroneously mislabeling this dedication as growth, when in actuality the actions were taken to fix something, so I'd be better accepted and offered a seat at the table. Honestly, I have no freaking idea what table I was vying for said seat at, nor do I care at this point. I am so over it. A welcome benefit of hitting the big 5-0. My IDGA BLEEP muscle is rapidly hypertrophying. My inner rebel and her sidekick are in charge of this process now. It was time to delegate. They got rid of the table, and we sit in a circle on the floor now. I've always preferred sitting like that and would have enjoyed 8 years of post-grad education a whole lot more had I been able to sit cross-legged for hours instead of crammed into a hard, unsupported chair at a desk. Doing my own inner healing work has spurred something in me that has changed everything about everything for me. It sparked within a fire that has emblazoned a new path. This path has helped my private clientele in countless ways. Since I am but one woman and I can only touch so many lives with the one-to-one business model, I have made a major shift. Now, this shift has at its core an online community where rebellious women can gather and learn how to cultivate meaning during this incredible season of growth and reflection called midlife. I specify rebellious because you have to be a little rebellious to buck the system and step out from the shadows cast by the ever ubiquitous status quo. Channeling one's inner rebel is challenging for most. She's in there, I promise. She's just been silenced over time and weakened because she's been starved of oxygen. And everyone knows a fire needs oxygen to grow. So does your inner rebel. Now, it's not oxygen in the molecular sense, mind you. This oxygen is whatever it is that gives you that spring in your step, that reason for doing the tough stuff, that reward for a life lived fully. We've been constantly told to be nice, don't buck the system, don't speak too loudly, and a whole mess of other messages that have resulted in us losing our footing along with our direction, losing sight of what lights us up in life. This is where your community comes in. Who is in your community? So I'll tell you a little bit about the one I'm cultivating. The Unraveling Together community is built upon the foundation that humans are stronger together. When it comes to doing the inner work in midlife, we do it collectively to harness that strength. Unravelers, now that's what I call us, they're willing to roll up their sleeves, wade into the uncomfortable, and do the work. This sense of unrest amplified at midlife isn't only in our thoughts and emotions. It is felt at a cellular level. We've accumulated toxins, depleted minerals, and ignored our own cries for help. These cries come from our heart, our mind, and our body. The fact that we have this three-part triad, our body, our head, and our heart, is why in the Unraveling Together community, we approach everything from these 3 points of view. Unraveling Together is the place we talk about the things we just don't talk about, especially as women. Unraveling Together is a resource hub and an online forum focused on issues affecting women in midlife. Topics range from losing fat for good, dementia prevention, and optimizing the health of the major systems of the body, cardiovascular, digestive, reproductive, and neurological to start. Unravelers are encouraged to do the work for themselves, but never by themselves. The bottom line on every single topic we work through together, ending the war with our bodies. It's time. There is no plug-and-play version of inner work, nor is there a passive setting on life. You can opt out, I suppose, but why on earth would you? Now, I've always been drawn to those who are unique, authentic, and all kinds of real. In fact, I recall a classmate of mine in chiropractic college mentioning that I was like a hummingbird when we were at these social gatherings together. I would visit one group, drink from the conversation, then move to another, and so on. She likened it to a hummingbird collecting nectar. I really love that analogy and revisit that conversation from time to time. It was a really juicy one. I couldn't resist. Now, if you crave this kind of connection with other women in midlife, plug into the Unraveling Together conversation. Follow my hashtag Unraveling Together, and join me for virtual coffee or tea while reading my Saturday morning email highlights. Opting in is simple. Just look to the description of this episode and you will find the opt-in prompt there. If you do it now, I'll send you the first email this Saturday morning and we can enjoy our Saturday morning beverages together. Thank you for joining me on the Unraveling Together podcast. I'd love to turn this thing we've got into a dialogue. Follow me on LinkedIn at Dr. Sam Graber, where we can have conversations about all things midlife, perimenopause, and finding meaning through it all. If you want a deeper dive into exploring your midlife experience, consider joining the Unraveling Together community of rebellious midlife women. It is there that we roll up our sleeves and do the work. Unraveling Together is a resource hub, roadmap, and online coaching community curated by yours truly. We are navigating this time called midlife together, for we truly believe we are stronger together. And when unravelers are in need of an assist, they have all of us there alongside them.